Hey everybody, welcome back to Lego Avengers. I don't I believe I do have like at least one video on this so far. But anyway, for those who are unaware of my amazing Lego strategy, I've actually altered it recently. We made a new discovery that I probably should have figured out, but shut up. And that discovery is we are going to, before we begin the story, we're going to put through all the cheat codes in, and that's it. And once we've got that done, we will actually play through the story. So this video is just going to be cheat codes, and then I'm going to do another video of the story. Our first code is for the character A-Bomb, who has not actually appeared in the MCU. However, he is technically a character that exists, just not in his superhero form, as it is kind of... It is, I don't know if it's directly said. However, Rick Jones in the comics is the person that the Bruce Banner saves, which causes him to get his powers in the comics. So there's a good chance that Rick Jones exists. Next, we have Amadeus Cho, and I believe his mother. Yeah, his mother is mentioned in Age of Ultron. And so it is not that far off to assume that he definitely exists. And I believe he was supposed to be related to one of the characters from the Incredible Hulk as well. Next we have Bengal, and to be honest, I don't actually know who that is, so I can't actually verify if they are a canon character because this game couldn't use X-Men or Spider-Man characters, and because the MCU was only at Age of Ultron was the newest movie at that point, they didn't have a ton of characters they could use because this is specifically based on the MCU versions. So they had to take a bunch of characters from comics and just throw their designs in, and some of them I think they tried to reimagine as an MCU version, but a lot of these, it really actually I think for kids and for fans of like young fans of Marvel, this wasn't really a great game. Like as a kid, I didn't find it that interesting, but as an adult, I definitely can, and as a big comic book nerd, I can absolutely look at this game and say I think it's really cool that they, instead of just taking all the characters like they did in the first game, which on the library of, and I think once I've unlocked every character in this game, I'm definitely going to go through the list, and it's going to be different than the Lego Marvel all characters video that I did, which was just me being like, here's all the characters. Instead, kind of, I'm going to be talking about I'll probably just be talking about the MCU appearances and like if they're in the MCU yet and such, or if they've since appeared in the MCU since being in this game. And that's the thing is I think Lego Marvel 2 leaned too heavily into doing the same thing as this game. Maybe that's why I didn't really enjoy Lego Marvel Superheroes 2. Like even when it first came out and I was still like probably like 12, 13, I still found myself saying this is not as interesting. And I think it was genuinely because I didn't like that they basically just... this is an issue Disney's been having with Marvel for years now, where because the MCU did so well, every animated series, every video game, every toy, everything had to look like the MCU version so that people would recognize that version. But it doesn't always have to be that way, and that's why I definitely prefer to the early to late to like just the 2000s. Anything before 2010, before Disney actually bought Marvel, was the best content they'd ever done. The MCU had a unique style that hadn't gotten bland yet. Because even now I find myself overwhelmed with the amount of MCU projects, and I really hope I hope they actually use Deadpool as a way to like course correct for that. I think that would be really cool if they were to use him as a way of maybe he removes a bunch of movies from canon or something, so that we don't have to watch them. Or maybe he brings back a bunch of characters from movies that nobody liked and just kills them, like the Eternals, so that they never ever have to be brought up again. Because I think that I don't think they would do that, or else they would call it like Deadpool kills the Marvel Universe. I think if there's anything, they're using Deadpool 3 to absolutely set up its X-Men and Fantastic Four, especially Fantastic Four. Like, I know they're X-Men characters, but you can see in the trailer of Fantastic Four imagery, um, and they announced right around the same, wasn't the same day the trailer came out, but it was shortly after the casting for Fantastic Four, which is coming out next year. And that one's going to be the big Marvel movie event for next year is Fantastic Four, which I'm nervous about. I am excited for a new Fantastic Four movie because I've always really liked the Fantastic Four. Like, I don't think I gush about them on this channel much, but like there is a reason why there's a reason why I like did the Marvel Marathon and didn't just review all the MCU movies, because a lot of YouTubers would do that. There's a lot of people who have done that. There's a lot of people who've done what I did too, went back and watched every single one. But I like a challenge, and I'd enjoy a lot of early 2000s Marvel movies because every single character had their own unique style. Same with like the old DC movies, right? Like if you watched, you could, it's cool, right? Like I'm gonna use Keaton Batman and Christopher Reeve Superman though as an example. You can watch those movies side by side, recognize that they're very different styles. But you could also realistically picture that they could be the same world, but they don't definitively say they are or aren't. And I miss that. I miss the ability that I don't have to watch a million movies beforehand. I don't even have to watch one movie beforehand. Because I miss like watching Raimi Spider-Man, the Ben Affleck Daredevil. Even though a lot of them were very mid, I miss that like era. And I don't know if that's just because that's what I grew up on. Because I tuned out of the MCU originally the first time after the first Avengers movie. I was like, okay, cool, what's next? I tuned out, I saw out of Phase 2, the entirety, out of any of them to see in theaters, I saw Iron Man 3, and that's it. I don't even think I bothered with Age of Ultron originally. Oh no, I did. I checked it out, because I saw, not even because of the Avengers, but because I saw Quicksilver and Scarlet Witch in the trailer, and thought, oh shit, are they introducing the X-Men? But then they didn't. And I didn't like that. I didn't understand all the rights and stuff, of course, but I didn't like it. As a kid, I was like, oh, they changed it. I don't know. I'm weird like that. I didn't find myself enjoying Age of Ultron much. Now I can go back to Age of Ultron definitely and be like, yeah, it's pretty good. It is a lot of setup for like Endgame. I think there was a lot more creative stuff, like Disney behind Age of Ultron, because Age of Ultron, if you didn't know, for those who don't know, got a big ass push when it came out. Like the marketing for that movie was huge, and they keep going back to it, like referencing it. Like every movie since Age of Ultron has been incredibly impacted by the Age of Ultron movie, as if the movie itself wasn't moving. Like if it wasn't for if they had ended the MCU with Age of Ultron, right? Or a couple movies like if they never did Infinity War or Endgame, I don't think people would look as fondly on Age of Ultron, because it felt very similar to what the Amazing Spider-Man 2 had done the year prior, where it was a movie that was basically made to advertise other movies. Essentially, it felt like none of the actors really wanted to be there. They did it under contract. The only ones who I think looked like enjoyed their time were Aaron Taylor Johnson and Elizabeth Olsen, and obviously Scarlet Witch stayed around, and he didn't even come back as Quicksilver when they brought Quicksilver back. I don't know if they ever asked him if he wanted to, and then he turned it down, and they tried to find another way around it by putting Evan Peters. Like if they planned it. I don't know if he was busy filming Craven, because he is being Craven. I don't know. But personally, like, I am glad we saw Evan Peters, but it was a really shitty payoff. And I watched WandaVision, like, as it came out. It wasn't something I was actually interested in. Like I said, I tuned out during Phase 2. Phase 3 came around and I got a little bit more invested. I remember seeing Ant-Man, Civil War, Homecoming, Infinity War, Endgame, and Far From Home, all kind of within like a couple years of each other. I got really into Marvel at that point for sure. Um, and then I kind of dipped out. After Endgame, I said, I get that comics go on forever. I get that that's kind of a thing. But I said to myself, like, I think this is kind of, if there's ever a good time to hop off the train and for them to kind of slow down, because that's what I thought they were going to do, was like completely slow down, maybe even not make another movie for a while, if ever. I thought they were going to do things in a specific way, and then they didn't, and then they started going, and then they had to stop because of COVID. And then we got that big break after No Way Home, and like, there's a lot of speculation of where it was going to go, and I liked that. Like, you barely get time to really, like, I don't know how to explain it, but like, it's really bad when you can see the name of a Marvel movie and predict what's going to happen. Is kind of my point. Like, I want to throw the new Captain America out there with it. So, the actor for General Ross died. So why don't they just write him out of the universe? Well, they're bringing him in Brave New World or whatever, New World Order, whatever they called it, as Harrison Ford. Okay, well, why? Why do they need a big actor for that if he's just well, he's going to become Red Hulk. Why do you think that's going to happen? This is because the Thunderbolts is coming soon, and Thunderbolt Ross, the Red Hulk, leads that team. Like, I can literally see their direction a mile away, so they've had to start, like, same with, like, at this point, people don't need Easter egg explain videos, because and that's the thing, that's something I really missed, because as a kid, I loved trying to dissect things and guess, when the trailers for Age of Ultron were coming up, for example, okay, is Captain America going to die? Or are they going to introduce... Like, I liked that. And now it's just like, you can see... people were figuring out the twist villain of WandaVision and what was going to happen at the end before when the first trailer was out. And they got a bunch of it right, other than the Mephisto bullshit. But I think using Mephisto would have been cooler in WandaVision than Agatha Harkness. I think she was a good character, don't get me wrong. Actually, she was one of the best parts of that series. But, like, I think they made things really repetitive and disappointing. They're not good at doing TV shows, not even miniseries. Like, I'm sorry. I haven't seen one Marvel show that was as good. I can't name one Marvel Disney Plus TV show that even got as good as Iron Man 2, and Iron Man 2 was shit. I didn't like Iron Man 2. But I really dislike so many of the Disney Plus shows that it's not even funny. Like, I think Echo was the only one that was good. And, I mean, I liked it. I haven't seen it. Actually, I'm gonna tell you that I haven't seen it, which is why I think it was the only one that was good. Maybe I'll watch it and say it's overrated. Maybe I'll say I hated it. Maybe I'll be one of those people. I don't know. And that's... How did they get away with this? One sec. Before I keep talking, I just need you guys to see this cheat code I'm doing, obviously. Because you guys are going to be so... I don't know how they got away with making this into a cheat code. This part specifically, the WTF. But anyway, I think I think they need to get it. I think after Endgame, they should have got a new person to take over instead of Kevin Feige, because I don't know. I just couldn't. I just didn't find it interesting. I think they've lost some steam. I think he's kind of gotten too comfortable with just kind of churning out the same thing over and over again. And it's bad when you can watch, like, The Amazing Spider-Man and you can see this. You can Google the suggestions that like Kevin Feige made, and it just sounds like an MCU movie, which makes sense because he was supposed to come to the end. Andrew Garfield was supposed to be in the MCU of Spider-Man. Now, I do enjoy Tom Holland. I'm going to say that when people were first calling him Iron Boy Jr. and stuff, I was like, that's not accurate. I was one of those people who defended it to the grave. Now I can absolutely look at Tom Holland and be like, yeah, they were kind of mid. I still really enjoy No Way Home, but I only enjoy it. I recognize that it is a flawed movie, but it's still good. It does have a lot of very glaring and obvious plot holes that I feel as though it shouldn't they shouldn't have been so glaring and obvious. Like if I don't think there was a lot of effort put into the script, as crazy as that sounds. I think the concept of the movie came before the actual movie. Like I think in the writers' room went, okay, we're gonna bring all of them back. Why? Well, you see, they're doing Spider-Verse movies in animation and they're doing well, so we're gonna do it in live action. Okay, how? Doctor Strange. Okay, but how? And I don't think that was the way they should have done it. That's all I got to say to that. Anyway, I hope that you all enjoyed, and I will see you all next time.